Okay, the regular meeting of the Housing Authority is called to order. Assistant Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Rios, Vice Chair Perez,
Here.
Chair Ayala.
Here.
And before we jump in, Mr. Chairman, we should note that the board, the Housing Authority Board, normally consists of 7 members. We have 1 vacancy, so therefore we only have 6. And with the 3 board members that are present this evening, that creates a quorum, and so business may be transacted tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glassman. Okay, we have 4 consent items for consideration. Ms. Moreno, are there any persons wishing to speak on those?
We have no speaker cards and no emails, Mayor.
Okay, is there a motion and a second?
Move it.
Commissioner Rios, Vice Chair Perez,
Aye.
Chair Ayala.
Aye. Okay, reports, number 5, adopt resolution number NHA-173, approving the U.S. Department of Housing, Urban Development, Foster Youth to Independence Voucher Program Grant Award and receive funding and amending the fiscal year 2025-26 operating budget by increasing revenue estimates and appropriations. Staff report, please.
Chair, Ayala, members of the Norwalk Youth Housing Authority. Mr. Bethany Cardenas will present, but I do want to just mention that this is a new program, one that we have been seeking. It's for those that are foster youth coming out of foster care, aging out. And I just want to thank staff for continuing to seek this type of funding and vouchers. So I really appreciate the effort. Thank you. So Bethany Cardenas will present.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Good evening, Chair Ayala and members of the Commission. Tonight, I am reporting on the HUD Foster Youth to Independence funding with the goal of adopting Resolution NHA 173 and amending the fiscal year 26 budget. The Foster Youth to Independence Initiative is a federal program designed to prevent homelessness among young adults transitioning out of the foster care system. This initiative includes a partnership with the Department of Children and Family Services, which offers referrals and personalized case management. The FYI voucher offers financial support for 3 to 5 years, helping young adults achieve stability and independence. To qualify for an FYI voucher, participants must be aged 18 to 24, have left foster care or be within 180 days of leaving foster care, and be homeless or at risk of homelessness. An agreement with DCFS was executed on June 3, 2025. DCFS will provide supportive services such as basic life skills, education support, job preparation, and job retention. In July 2025, the Housing Authority applied for 5 FYI vouchers, was approved for the vouchers, and received funding on July 29, 2025. HUD funds the FYI program with a total budget of over $83,000, which includes rental assistance for 5 vouchers and administrative fees. The recommended actions align with the NHA's 5-year plan for 2025 to 2030 and the strategic plan goal number 2, improve living conditions for residents in greatest need. This includes collaborating with partners to assist homeless residents and increasing the supply of permanent supportive housing. These efforts also align with goal number 3, create and sustain a resilient and prosperous city. Staff recommends that the Housing Commission adopt Resolution NHA 173, approving HUD's FYI Voucher Program Award. This resolution will authorize $83,684 in funding and amend the fiscal year 26 operating budget to increase revenue estimates and appropriations. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Bethany. Ms. Moreno, are there any persons wishing to speak on this particular item?
No.
Okay, then do I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rios,
Aye.
Vice Chair Perez,
Aye.
Chair Ayala.
Aye. Item number 6, adopt resolution number NHA 174, authorizing the use of 54 Section 8 project-based vouchers for existing housing at 10646 Rosecrans Avenue and execute housing assistance payment contract. Staff report, please.
Yes. Chair Ayala and commissioners of the Housing Authority, Bethany Cardenas will present. Again, this is a housing project for the unsheltered with a priority for Norwalk unsheltered residents. With that, you can present.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Good evening, Chair Ayala and members of the commission. This report is on project-based vouchers for the Project Home Key. Project-based vouchers are part of the Housing Choice Voucher Program, attaching rental assistance to specific housing units rather than individual tenants. This is the same as Optimus Village. Administered by HUD, up to 20% of vouchers can be allocated to existing units. The purpose of PBVs is to make sure that there are enough units available for Section 8 households. This is achieved through rental assistance for the life of the HAP contract and to protect the at-risk projects identified in the city's housing element. Many public housing agencies are using the PBV program to boost voucher utilization and expand housing options for families and individuals with special needs. The Norwalk Home Key site, previously Motel 6, was initially a temporary shelter run by the County of Los Angeles, but in 2023, it was transferred to Weingart for conversion into permanent supportive housing under the Project Home Key initiative. Permanent supportive housing provides one of the best opportunities for people experiencing homelessness to achieve housing stability and pursue life goals. This development includes 54 units, an on-site manager, supportive services from Weingart Center, amenities, a security guard, and a camera system to support and help with resident safety. Eligible homeless individuals are referred by LAHSA, and both the Housing Authority and Weingart select the applicants for the unit. The monthly payment standard for rent is set at $1,856. Tenants are required to pay 30% of their income toward rent, while the Housing Authority covers the remaining balance through a voucher, making this an affordable housing project. Here's a layout for both the studio unit and the ADA compliant unit. There is no fiscal impact on the general fund. Project-based vouchers are funded by HUD. The recommended actions align with NHA's 5-year plan for 2025 and 2030 and support the strategic plan goal number 2, improve living conditions for residents in greatest need, which includes collaborating with partners to assist homeless residents and increasing the supply of permanent supportive housing. These efforts also align with the third goal, create and sustain a resilient and prosperous city. This is a photo of the dog park and the community picnic area. And by entering into a HAP contract, the Norwalk Housing Authority will be able to house 54 to 108 homeless individuals. Staff recommends that the Housing Authority Commission adopt Resolution NHA 174, authorizing the use of 54 Section 8 project-based vouchers at 10646 Rosecrans Avenue and authorize the executive director to execute the HAP contract with Weingart 10646 LLC. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Bethany. Okay. Vice Mayor Perez or Vice.
Thank you. Bethany, do you know when we're going to have an opening date or when they're going to start actually having residents?
Yes, we're hoping next week, the earliest, by the end of August. So once you approve it, we can start reviewing the applications. We have 36 people on the waiting list, and we have 24 still at the building waiting for approval. And then once we execute the contract, we can start doing the applications. We plan on doing inspections this week, and then we can start calling people, and we do a background check and the intake, and we'll give them the voucher.
That was my next question, was do we already have a wait list and people ready to move in?
Yes.
And out of those 36, are they all Norwalk?
We have 25 people that are on the list. On the waiting list now, we have, I believe, 7 to 10.
Thank you for that update. I remember when this started and HomeKey came through, and it was a challenge getting to this date. So it's very exciting to see that we're at that point to be able to house some of the unsheltered here, specifically targeting some of our Norwalk unhoused. So thank you for that. I'll make the motion to move it.
Second.
Hold on. Do we have any speaker cards on this, Ms. Moreno?
No, Chair.
Okay. We have a motion and a second.
Commissioner Rios? Vice Chair Perez?
Aye.
Chair Ayala?
Aye. We have a Community Development Director's report.
No report this evening.
Okay. Oral communications on Housing Authority. Do we have anybody that's asking to speak? Ms. Moreno?
No.
Okay, then we're adjourned. Okay, now I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the Norwalk City Council. This evening we have, we need to switch seats here. Hold on one sec. Okay, try it again. This evening, we're honored to welcome Pastor Arthur McKibben from La Mirada Church of the Nazarene, a proud Norwalk resident since 2006. Pastor McKibben has dedicated his life to uplifting the community. Through his leadership with Life Core 6 coaching, he empowers individuals to thrive both personally and professionally. Following the invocation, we're excited to be joined by our special guest, Young Marine Private First Class Laureano Jimenez, to conduct the Pledge of Allegiance. Young Marine Private First Class Jimenez is a 9th grader at Southeast Academy. He enjoys hiking, bike riding, and being a part of the tight-knit Norwalk community. Pastor McKibben and Young Marine Private First Class Jimenez, please come to the front to lead us, and then afterwards we'll take a photo together.
Thank you so much. I know we got a late start. Does this mean I don't get my normal 10 minutes? No, I'm just kidding. Please stand. Dear friends and esteemed council members, thank you for allowing me to be here today. Let us pray. As we gather here today, let us take a moment to pause and reflect on the profound strength of hope and perseverance. Lord, help us in the times of uncertainty and challenge. Remind us it is our hope that serves as the guiding light, illuminating the path ahead. Just like a flicker of possibility that shines through dark moments, hope reminds us to envision a brighter future. Lord, let us with courage in our hearts embrace the spirit of perseverance that sustains us through adversity. May we find the resilience to push forward, to pursue our dreams with optimism, knowing that every step we take, no matter how small, brings us closer to our goals. Lord, with our city council, as we cultivate our hope, let us remain grounded. May we set realistic goals for our community, balancing our dreams with the understanding that challenges may arise. Surround us with supportive spirits, the neighbors and our friends, who uplift us and create a nurturing environment where hope can flourish. In this moment, Lord, we also celebrate perseverance, the unwavering grit that propels us forward when the journey becomes tough. Like a marathon runner's pressing on through fatigue, let us be reminded that perseverance is not just about relentless pursuit, but about adaptability and wisdom. Lord, show us how to recognize when it is time to pause, to reassess our strategies, and to celebrate even our smallest victories. As we move through this meeting tonight, Lord, may our discussions spark hope and perseverance within each of us. Together, let us navigate obstacles and embrace the journey ahead, creating a vibrant community that thrives on resilience and connection. Let us be our cornerstone and perseverance our guide. We ask these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, the Republic, which is stands under God, indivisible.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Is it one more? 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thank you.
Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rios. Vice Mayor Perez.
Here.
Mayor Ayala.
Here. Could I have a closed session report, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Members of the City Council, the record should reflect that the City Council convened for the 4 items that are listed on the agenda, with the 3 members of the City Council that are present were present in closed session. That prior to recessing to closed session, those items were announced for inclusion in closed session in the open session prior to recessing. And the record should further reflect that on each of those 4 items, the City Council received a briefing. There was no action that was taken that is required to be reported at this time. And that is my report from closed session. It's appropriate to continue with the open portion of the meeting at this time.
Thank you. Before we go to City Council comments, I'm going to go a little bit out of order. I have a couple people that I need to hear from. Can I have Elizabeth Guerra?
Hi, good evening. My name is Elizabeth Guerra. I am a resident of Norwalk for the past 25 years. And I'm just here to make the council, the mayor, aware, and the whoever is in charge of the recreation department that we're having issues. We are aware that there's a strike going on. We were confirmed that there was a labor shortage by Supervisor Camacho. And we just have concerns. There hasn't been no transparency. I've left calls for the director. I forgot his name. Recreation Director. Crickets, nothing. Ms. Camacho has been trying to resolve or trying to make us aware of what the issues is with the city. We know that there's a contract. We understand. Our department, Adaptive Recreation Department, is a very small department. So it only covers that part, but we are aware that it is all the city completely is having issues. But we want assurances from you guys to let us know that the program will not be affected by these shortages. We want to keep our same staff. We want to keep the same program. The program has been running for decades. Norwalk has been a pioneer in keeping that adaptive recreation program. No one in our neighboring cities has a program like we do in the city of Norwalk. So we had 2 incidents where we were told on the day of that there was no summer camp for our kids with special needs. We are working parents. We had no idea that was happening. That was due to a labor shortage. And then there was a labor shortage at the after-school activities at the park, at Gordy's Park. And they had kids that were going to deal with our special needs kids. So we were concerned that we couldn't leave our kids with someone that's not trained. We already have staff that's trained. So we want our council, our mayor, our recreation department director to support that small part of community that has been going on for decades. So the new director has not been in contact with us. We usually had his predecessor meet with us whenever we needed him, whenever we called. We haven't heard from him. I don't know who he is, just a young guy that dresses really nice. That's all I've been told, but I don't know him. I've left messages, no contact. So we are very concerned and we need assistance from someone else. And I just want to speak more about the program and what's it done for my kid. My son has been there for 15 years and has helped him immensely. So there's more parents here to speak as to that. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, and believe me, we share your concern. That is a priority program for us as well. So I will.
It was, but it didn't happen like that.
Well, it has been for me. So I'll have somebody speak with you. Well, there he is already, Johnny on the spot. Let me have Barbara Madrano, please.
Good evening, council members. My name is Barbara Medrano. I'm the proud parent of Louis Velasquez that's been attending the Adaptive Recreation Program for approximately 19 years. The program would not have such a tremendous impact on my son's life. It wasn't for the staff members that's been involved all these years. I appreciate all the staff members that have been involved with the program. I want you to leave here tonight knowing that the city has a special program that not any surrounding cities have. You have parents that have traveled from the city of Long Beach and other cities for their children to attend this program because their cities don't offer anything like this. We know there are negotiations that are pending to be resolved between the city staff and the union. I have the following concerns. I don't want any cuts, especially of this program or any program in our city. Staff members must be taken care of just like they take care of our kids. Please understand that when you have someone or something that makes a positive impact on your special needs child, young adult, as a parent, you are going to do whatever it takes to keep it. My son had no social skills when he started this program. He was just interviewed as a global messenger representing the Special Olympics by Good Day LA last week at SoFi Stadium. Through this program, he was introduced to the Special Olympics. This is one of many things that this program has done for my son. I can go on and on about the positive impact it has done for him. I hope council members know that the extraordinary program you have for the community of special needs residents of Norwalk and the surrounding neighbors. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. We have Graciela Hernandez, please.
Good evening, council. Well, I have nothing, but my son also attends a recreational adapted service, and he's been there for like 14 years too. And for him, this is his little social, that's his social life. And hopefully nothing changes, and we're like a family. And I really hope that the same staff stays. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. I know I went to some of the Special Olympic practices, and I went to the Special Olympics in Long Beach here just not too long ago, and it's an excellent program. Staff does a great job. You're not going to get any argument from me on that one. Alfredo Garcia, please.
Good evening. I'm just
evening.
here to tell you how great that program is, and that we want to keep it going. Like they say, I've seen kids grow very much in this program, learn, and just want to keep it going. I don't want to lose it, neither the program or the staff, because they're the greatest. My kid has been there for probably 15 years. He keeps going. And I say kids, they're grown adults. But for us, it's still our kids. And we just want everybody to know how important that is for us. To keep it going and keep the staff. And I know they have some problems, but something has to be taken care of them.
Thank you. Okay, anybody among that group of four that wants to talk to our Deputy City Manager, Ozzie Ramos, is who's up there in the audience right now? Any additional things that you think he needs to know regarding the adaptive program and so on and so forth, please be sure to talk to him, okay? Now we're going to go into City Council comments. Councilmember Rios, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our council meeting today. A couple of things that I want to share. The first thing I want to mention is today I actually was able to participate in a collaborative meeting with the Consulado General de Mexico in Los Angeles, and he provided us some really, really helpful information that I think would benefit many of our residents and community members here in our very beautiful city of Norwalk. And one of the things that he mentioned was a 24-hour hotline. It's a number, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And it's a very good number to have for those individuals that have questions regarding their immigration status, maybe a family member who has been detained, other questions on becoming a resident or a citizen. But specifically, this number is more of a hotline, as I mentioned, that when called provides you some immediate resources. And that number, just for your information, or for someone that you may know would benefit from that number is 520-623-7874. So again, just for your information and information for someone that may benefit from help from the Consulado's office. They're a very good resource, is what I learned so much more today. The other thing I wanted to mention was I wanted to thank Bethany and her team, which, there she is, because I remember meeting and talking specifically about TAY, meaning, you know, those transitional, remind me again, transitional aged youth. And we actually, Gabby, you were in our meeting too, and we met with DCFS, a representative from DCFS, and another individual who basically said, hey, why is Norwalk not doing this? You know, I can help you. You know, let's navigate through this process. And such a worthwhile endeavor, because specific to foster youth, the fact that once they turn of legal age, they're potentially homeless with no resources. And so when we had this meeting, and we talked about how do we get some of this funding for program for the youth in our very own city, I'm just so glad to see it here today. Right, Bethany? I can see you are. I can see you're smiling from ear to ear, Gabby. And so I appreciate both of you, the time that you took, with me, and the time you took to sit in this meeting, with me and these individuals to talk about this possibility. It's always about those possibilities. You just never know, right? So I was really excited to see this on the Norwalk Housing Authority agenda today. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. Because again, another example of how the city of Norwalk is what we're doing, to address those individuals experiencing housing insecurity, especially those young people. And again, the program isn't just housing, but I mean, we can tap them into continuing their education, and it's a whole. So thank you. I was very excited to see that today. And I also want to ask that we close today's meeting in memory of Frances Mary Husak. So I received an email from her family, and back in 2019 when I was mayor, I actually presented the family a certificate on behalf of the city council, and we shared a cake in Frances's living room in her home here in Norwalk. So the family reached out and shared that she had recently passed away at 105 years old. She missed her 106 by just a few weeks. So I was very humbled that the family remembered and reached out and said, if you would like to say your goodbyes, here's the information for her celebration of life. But again, I met Frances when she turned 100 years old, and so I really would like to share some information about Frances. So 105 years old, of Norwalk. She passed on August 3rd, 2025 in her home. She was born and raised in Verona, PA. She was born October 10th, 1919 to parents Frank and Catherine. She lived a few blocks from the banks of the Allegheny River. She and her family survived the floodwaters of March 1936. She earned her bachelor's degree in 1942. She earned a master's degree in 1947. She taught secondary school business education for 15 years. She moved to California in 1957, where she taught at Southgate High School for 22 years, retiring in 1980. She was an active member of Holy Family Catholic Church in Artesia and Our Lady of Rosary in Paramount. She devoted her energies in assisting with CCD classes for 15 years. Frances was an auntie to 3 generations of nieces and nephews. She was dedicated to her family and sharing in those milestones of life. So just want to share my condolences to the family, and it was definitely my pleasure to have been able to celebrate her 100th birthday with her. And I ask that we close tonight's meeting in her memory. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Margarita. Vice Mayor Perez, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're ready for the heat, because it is coming, whether we like it or not. So I will ask that our team, once we have information on our cooling centers, to make sure that we get that posted on all of our social media outlets. And I know, Gabby, you and your team will reach out to those that are most vulnerable in our senior population and in social services. Stay cool, my friends, as much as you possibly can. Stay hydrated and check on your neighbors and your pets. I just want to thank our public relations team, our SALPI. I'm trying to think of her title at the moment. There's a lot of legislation that's going on in the city that directly affects the city of Norwalk and our development, the way that we do business, our codes and processes. So we're asking that our team try to inform you on the residents and our businesses on some of the bigger pieces of legislation that would have a direct effect on what happens here in the city of Norwalk. So thank you to the entire team for getting some of that information out, because we want you all to be aware of what's happening out there and how decisions that are being made outside of this dais will really affect what happens. So thank you for that. I did attend the League of Cal Cities LA Division meeting a couple weeks ago. Got some great information that we passed on to our team. Front Street Friday nights, our final summer event was last week, and it was great to be there with the entire community. Thank you to the entire team and all of our public outreach, our partners, the food trucks, the dancers. There had to be dancing. Everybody that came out and attended and really celebrated summer with the city of Norwalk. And today I was asked to participate with the California JPIA, sit on a panel in Oxnard to talk to 40 newly elected officials here in the Los Angeles area, and just really spend some time with them, share some wisdoms, best practices. And it's great to, one, be asked, but to also be there and represent the city of Norwalk. So I just want to share that all with our community. School starts. School going to start, soon starting. So please drive slowly, be aware, check on everybody, cheer on your students, whether it's a preschooler or a kindergarten or a college student, and let's make sure that we're really supporting our teachers and our coaches, because they are all out there supporting our children and everybody that is going to school, and we need to support each other more and more. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you stay cool. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Alluding to what my colleague was saying, we're at Point Summer. We're starting to wrap stuff up. We've had the last one of our concerts last week, and I too want to thank everybody that makes all the programming during the year possible, especially during summer, like concerts, 4th of July, all the special programming at the sports complex and whatnot. So I'd like to thank Finance for writing the checks. I'd like to thank Public Services, Glenn, pass that along to your people. I see our Director of Public Safety, Rita Reese, at all these events, working a lot of overtime. Gabby, I want to thank you for the concerts, having your staff come out and present information to everybody. It was well received, and any time you can engage in kind of a different way, I think is very possible. Levy's son was another one that had to put in a bunch of time on all these different events, and it's every year it's pretty intense summertime is. So I just want to thank all you guys for everything that you did, and recreation. I think Sonia escaped on me. Okay, well, Ellen and Sonia for recreation, they do a real heavy lift on all this stuff, and all the recreation staff like Rosie Lazoya and all the rest. But anyway, I just want to thank everybody, because I think it was a very successful summer, and I know that it wouldn't be if all of you weren't behind the scenes making it happen. Next item is City Manager comments. Mr. Gomez.
Thank you, Mayor and members of City Council. The first thing that I'd like to mention is that the heat is coming, and we do have our cooling station, the Senior Center. It'll be Wednesday through Friday, 8 a.m. through 8 p.m. And we typically will open a cooling center at 92 degrees, and we will be opening the Senior Center Wednesday through Friday, and if need be, Saturday as well. And so just to let everyone know, the information is also on our website, but you're welcome to come to our cooling center, and we are prepared to have staff there for those who visit. Secondly, the Metro Reconnecting Neighborhoods and Communities update. I want to let you know that we have a meeting this Thursday with Caltrans, Metro, and a couple of other agencies, including Janice Hahn's office, and we will be speaking about express lanes on the 105, and we will also be speaking about the 105 Studebaker exit as well. So we have a very high-level technical group that will come, and we are going to be driving the actual freeway. We have a couple of vans that we are going to offer to be able to have them view the challenges that we have also on the 105 Studebaker exit. Next, we're going to recognize the senior next month, but we have National Night Out video for you to view, and our community. Those that did not attend, you can see how much fun people that were there were able to have at our concert. So with that, we can play our video.
The Norwalk community came out at this year's National Night Out, which was held during our Front Street Friday concert. With live music from Bruno and the Hooligans, food trucks, and art vendors. This celebration was more than just a fun night out. It was a chance to connect with the people who keep Norwalk safe.
National Night Out is very important because these events show the power that happens when public safety and the community get together. Working together, we could accomplish anything. Let's keep what we're doing, let's keep working together, and together we'll keep Norwalk safe.
Throughout the night, residents got the chance to meet with deputies, public safety officers, and first responders.
The number one thing that I would want residents to take away from tonight is that we're here for them. When you guys see us out there, we're extremely approachable. A lot of the times we want the same things that they do, so that way we can make the city of Norwalk a better community, a more connected community, and to know that we're here for them.
This event aligns with Goal 2 of the Norwalk City Council's Strategic Plan to work in partnership with our community to achieve safe and livable neighborhoods. From safety education and community resources to dance-offs and photo ops, this event brought out the best of Norwalk.
I think it's important because it feels like it builds a better community together to better engage with one another.
It's always good to find out the resources that the city has and, to build community with all the neighbors, and it's, it's a fun time for the kids as well.
Thank you to the Norwalk Sheriff's Station, Public Safety Team, the Hope Team, and every resident who came out to celebrate. Together, we're creating a safer, stronger, and more united Norwalk.
Thank you for that. Next, we have our biweekly review video, and that encompasses a couple of weeks of activities throughout the city. Welcome to participate. Those that are watching, come out and participate in our activities.
On August 6th, alongside the Norwalk Summer Concert Series, the Norwalk Chamber of Commerce hosted its annual Business Expo. Local businesses and educational organizations came together to showcase their products and services to the community.
Guys, what's up? This is Jason over at the Norwalk Chamber, your chamber board president. We want to give a special thank you to the city of Norwalk for allowing us to be able to host an annual business expo like that. We got some of our businesses out here doing their thing, showing what they got. We also want to give a special thanks to Parks and Recs for being able to help us out, set it all up. Thank you very much, guys.
Norwalk celebrated the grand opening of Cava on August 8th. Mayor Tony Ayala, city officials, and residents gathered to enjoy fresh Mediterranean flavors, warm smiles, and community spirit. On August 9th, Public Safety, Recreation, and Park Services, and our dedicated summer youth workers joined forces for a community cleanup. By working side by side, they helped create cleaner, safer, and healthier neighborhoods. This event showed that when we unite, Norwalk is stronger together.
Hi, I'm a summer youth worker with the city of Norwalk, and we're here cleaning up the Front Street and Norwalk Boulevard. And as a cleaning right now, it's really fun. I love helping out my community.
The Credit Union of Southern California held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for its new branch at Pattison Square on Wednesday the 13th. The ribbon-cutting ceremony had the Norwalk Chamber of Commerce, City of Norwalk staff, and residents in attendance. On August 14th, the Social Services Center held 7 Seas Samba, a seniors dance event. Participants danced the morning away, enjoying refreshments, music, and friendly smiles from friends and family members.
Mayor and council members, that completes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Next item up is consent calendar. I would like to pull item 7 for a report, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council, Ms. Rita Ruiz will present, and that's on the Office and Traffic Safety Grant funds.
Thank you, Jesus. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Ayala, Vice Mayor Perez, and members of the City Council. Tonight, I would like to discuss Resolution Number 25-36, Budget Amendment Grant Funding from the California Office of Traffic Safety, Pedestrian, and Bicycle Safety Program. Mouthful. Back in July, the Department of Public Safety applied for the grant, and the California Office of Traffic Safety, the OTS, awarded the City of Norwalk $100,000 in funding to support the program. The grant is a statewide initiative to reduce traffic-related injuries and fatalities involving pedestrians and bicyclists. It also supports the city's commitment to improving safety through education and outreach. As for the fiscal impact, a fiscal year 2025-26 budget amendment is required to reflect an appropriation of grant funds for eligible expenditures not to exceed $100,000, no local match requirements, and no impact to the general fund. Staff recommends that City Council adopt Resolution Number 25-26, authorizing an amendment to the fiscal year 2025-26 adopted budget to appropriate the $100,000 in grant funds awarded by the California Office of Traffic Safety for the Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Program.
Thank you, Rita. I wanted the report because I think this is really, really important, because no matter how hard we try, no matter how we engage and try to get the awareness out there, we still have people on bicycles getting hit by cars. We still have pedestrians getting hit by cars, and it's our drivers have to be more aware that sometimes, you might have a senior citizen or somebody that's not, mentally well, and they wander into traffic. And I mean, everybody has to be super aware of how important it is to be safe on that. And, I know you guys have been working closely with the sheriffs, with motors and stuff like that, because there's a few streets in Norwalk that the traffic is always fast. Studebaker's one of them. Alondra's another. And when you have that kind of thing going on, and you have pedestrians intermingling with all that, one of the areas I worry about is, the crosswalk right there in front of the Social Service Center. And so anyway, I just don't want to belabor the point. I'm very happy that you got this grant, and I would just like to make sure the city stays, connected to getting as much information and as many programming things we can do to try to keep people safer, especially pedestrians and people driving vehicles in our city. Anyway, so we have a motion on.
Mayor,
Oh.
I'd also like a report on item number 4 and item number 8.
Councilmember Rios, Mr. Glenn Cow will present.
Mayor and Council. The item you want to report on would be, title is Award of Contract for Professional Services for On-Call Citywide Grant Management Services. Background, on June 3rd, 2025, the city solicited an RFP to provide on-call services for citywide grant management. The purpose was to acquire 3 firms capable of supporting grant identification, strategy, development, and preparation, and post-award compliance. In response to that, 16 proposals were received, submitted. They were reviewed, evaluated, selected 3 firms, the top 3 for recommended for award. Those companies are, one is Advanced Avant-Garde Corporation, excuse me, also South Star Engineering Consulting, Inc., and Blaze and Associated, LLC. The contracts would be for an initial 3-year term with the option for 2 1-year extensions. And services would be assigned on an as-needed basis through individual task orders, for a shorter version of a solicitation of this select compiled group. The contract values typically are estimated between, from past usage, between $100,000 to $125,000. The fiscal impact, funding for the grant for these services are included as part of the approved FY 25-26 public services budget. No additional funds are being requested at this time. Appropriate funds will accompany the award recommendation for award of contract for specific on-call services. With that, staff is recommending that the City Council approve agreements with the 3 qualified firms as previously listed to provide the on-call grant management services for a term of 3 years from the date of execution of contract agreement. And authorize the city manager to execute the agreement as well as any extensions or amendments provided funding is available in the budget on behalf of the city in a form approved by the city attorney. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Glenn. So what is it that they're going to be requested to do? Can you just give me an idea? Give me a hypothetical of one task.
Previously, I've been here almost 6 years now. Previously, you've heard me speak quite a bit when I first came on regarding HSIP. That's Highway Safety Improvement Programs, local federal funding. Anytime you engage federal funding, you have a I'll use the term checklist. There are certain requirements, information, data that has to be provided. For example, for the design services, which occurred before I got here, you would have had to, a portion of that funding identified for those services. So they're very specific in how the services are secured. They want, typically in your federal contracts, you'll have a component, we call it, it's now referred to as UDBE, underutilized disadvantaged business enterprises. They want to make sure that they are eligible and being solicited for to provide and solicit for the services being requested. Once those contracts are engaged, then for the payments or the reimbursements, there's usually about a 90% funding, 10% match by the agency, that any and all services that were provided under individual invoices for reimbursement, they were proper, and the services provided were managed properly and done in conditions properly under the agreements. We go through that till the work is finished. Then you have a closeout. That they will want to have any and all paperwork filled out showing proper expenditure, closeouts, and summary all the way through from the start to the finish. In regards to staff, I signed many letters attesting to that when we submitted. The total of the program was about $15 million at the time with the 6 projects total. And I know talked early on when I was just getting used to council, and then I could talk very brief and concise on it, but we brought many of those reports to working with Avant-Garde, the consultant, to help us do that. Because back then, we had fewer staff than we do now, and they had the experience working with Caltrans, who is the state's, I'll say, management of the federal highway funds coming in towards that program under the HSIP program that we were working with.
So that was mainly what I wanted to just clarify. So it's for street infrastructure primarily.
Typically, that's where the funding was applied, or we applied for. It could be traffic signal related, but it could be other things too. In this case, it happened to be primarily street related.
So that's what I wanted to just maybe get a little bit more information. If there was a plan to look at other types of grant funding other than what you just explained now, is there an idea of looking at other type of grant funding?
Yes, there is. There always is. It depends on what's being offered. I know the most current use or need for these services right now, we have Cycle 8, HSIP. That project has, there are 4 different components, 2 and 2. The improvements are on both Pioneer and Norwalk from the south city's border to the north city's border. And forgive me, I'll estimate, I think it's somewhere between $3 to $5 million or $6 to $8 million just for those 4 projects right there.
Right, but besides HSIP, is there a plan to look at other types of grant funding for other type of work?
Yes, there is. The service rate, I keep going away from you. Yes, there is always, we always are looking for other available funding that's available for different projects we're looking at. I know that one specific use or project is for these 4. They're getting ready to start this. We want to make sure we're doing it properly and to be able to fully get the reimbursement back. But we always do seek out funding for other types of projects, not only street related.
Give me an example of that. What other type?
Well, let's see. I have in September, I'll be bringing a resolution staff report to you. It's also federal. The United States Army Corps of Engineers, the WRDA, Water Resources Development Act, S219 program, $20 million. For 10 years, I'll be bringing that forward to you.
Okay.
To resolution, so we can engage that. Just recently got agreement signed. We will definitely need assistance.
Okay. Well, and that's kind of the point that I wanted to get to, is I'm hoping that there's, we look at other types of grants that are available out there. I know that part of the description here talked about or mentioned, environmental type grants, but then it just gave an example of the city infrastructure like HSIP that you talked about. I know that, for example, a neighboring city, I won't mention which one, recently was awarded a grant from CAL FIRE of over $500,000, over $500,000. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping, and I don't know if Jesus, our city manager, can chime in on a little bit of that, because I know there's grants out there, and I think that sometimes we miss a potential opportunity to get some of that funding. So I'm hoping that we kind of throw a wider net out to, get that funds to do other projects in our city as well.
Yes, Councilmember Rios, at times they bring grants to us that are available to cities. That's the other advantage of having them working for us. So they may be working for another city in writing a grant. They'll come to us and say, we have this grant, we're working with another city, but you qualify, do you guys want to apply? And so that's how we get additional grant money, because they're working for us.
Okay.
So they bring us,
Very good.
they bring us grants,
Very good.
opportunities.
Thank you so much. The other item was number 8. Who will present? Is that also you, Glenn?
Yes, Glenn Cow will present.
And if I can just kind of get ahead of the presentation, there's just a couple of things that I wanted to see. One, I wanted to find out how this particular project for the roofing was identified and why it was chosen. And as a capital project, does it have any impact on any other capital projects that we are working on? And if that was a consideration or had to be worked in, the decision of requesting this additional funding for the project, for the work?
If I can, two questions or two on it in regards to why is this, why or how is this selected, and any of the impacts on other current or future?
Correct.
For the first one, I can go to the PowerPoint. I can answer your questions directly. You direct me what you like. I know that with the upcoming 25th anniversary for the seniors, with that, similar to as we did for social services and its 50th, we knew in advance that with the event coming up, we're not that we're not doing any maintenance work or anything like that out there. We are continually looking. We service it every day, and they take notes of what's occurring. So it was already identified, I believe, when we were looking at social services for the paint scheme. It was recommended to match senior and social, to tie the two facilities together, because they provide services to seniors in various programs. When the color was selected, the staff, public services staff, started looking, and they noticed things already. They had notes on other things, but they started looking at the exterior, its condition. Started talking about, well, if we're painting social, senior, probably do that. So they already started gearing up for that. When the 25th anniversary was announced, then just put everything in motion and started going. That's how this project evolved.
But Councilmember Rios, it's at the end of its life. We have leaks that we're having to repair, and that's really how it was selected.
Okay, and that's what I was looking for, because I know we're trying to be, fiscally prudent. We're trying to be very wise on how our expenditures, especially when it comes to capital projects, or in general, just as we run our city. But there wasn't any specific mention as to, other than it was the 25th anniversary that was coming up, other than the actual, other than that, there was no mention on the condition of the roof.
Yes, it's at the end of its life, and we have leaks. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, we have Brian Tyndall that wants to speak on item 4.
Good evening, council and staff. I missed what item 4 was about, so thank you for fitting me in. It is about grants, which I didn't realize because it's very brief in the description. But anyway, to Councilmember Rios's point, the EEMP grants, Environmental Enhancement Mitigation Grants, are the ones that repair our medians. You might have seen a couple places where we've got little signs that say this median has been fixed with other people's money. So if we could keep doing that, we got a grant in 2015 for about $500,000. And we got another in 2020 for $250,000. Program is offering $6.7 million, opened every spring. So I hope that with this new contract that we have, that we can get other people's money to repair our native landscaping. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, council, on the consent calendar?
I'll move it.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rios,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez,
Aye.
Mayor Ayala.
Aye. Do you have any appointments, colleagues? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I do have one appointment this evening to the Arts and Public Places, and that's Vanessa Armendariz. Vanessa, you want to come forward? She is present. So can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. City Clerk?
Give me 1 second, Councilmember Rios. Okay. Hi, okay, congratulations. I'm going to go ahead and give you the oath of office. I'll say the piece and then you'll just follow along. I state your name. Can you click the push button, please?
Oh,
Okay, I state your name.
Vanessa Armendariz,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will
Affirm, sorry.
support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
And welcome aboard. I think we're still gonna have to get a roll call on that.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Do that. Councilmember Rios,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez,
Aye.
Mayor Ayala.
Aye.
Take a quick.
Levy, can you take a picture, please? Welcome aboard. Any more? Nope. Okay, we're going to go to item 10 under reports. It's to adopt a resolution number 25-40, approval of a put option agreement for the real property located at 12158 Firestone Boulevard, Norwalk, California, 90650. Assessor parcel number 8056-014-034. Okay, City Manager, report, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Alex Hamilton will present.
Good evening, Mayor and Honorable Council. The item before you tonight is for you to adopt Resolution 2540, which is the approval of a put option agreement for the real property located at 12158 Firestone. And you'll hear more about the Heart of Norwalk plan tonight, which we have an update for you under reports. On July 6, 2021, the City Council approved the Heart of Norwalk Vision Plan, which envisions opportunities for new economic development within Front Street, Firestone Boulevard, and the San Antonio corridors. The property located at 12158 Firestone is a part of the Heart of Norwalk project area. The Heart of Norwalk Draft Specific Plan and the Draft Environmental Impact Report are out for public review. Actually, as you'll hear later, the Draft Environmental Impact Report review period concluded just recently, but the Draft Specific Plan is out for public review. And we had the first of a series of property owner meetings relate to the specific plan, the intent of which is to have the Draft Specific Plan and the final environmental impact report to you for adoption late fall of 2025. The property in discussion is located in the Front Street Historic District of the Heart of Norwalk, and the anticipated zoning is flexible residential and commercial which is conducive to a variety of activities which will ultimately stimulate reinvestment and redevelopment in the area. The final end use is not known at this time, but options considered for this area include residential and public parking, to name a few, and a public-private partnership between the city and Prime Store. The put option agreement is just that. It's an option agreement which would be activated by and between the city or Prime Store. The purchase price is set forth in the put agreement. It is $1.15 million. Sorry, fine print, which is the purchase price is $1.15 million, plus other terms of the agreement include out-of-pocket closing costs and amounts payable to third parties in connection with the acquisition, operation, and ownership of the property, known as capitalized costs. Typically, these are things such as your Phase 1 environmental studies, your appraisals, if any, your due diligence that you would have consultants do on this. Other financial terms in the agreement include an annualized 10% return, which compounds monthly on the sum of the property price plus the capitalized cost, and an outstanding reimbursement fee. The term of the put agreement is 2 years, and there is the ability to sign the contract to the city. This is the property in discussion. It's a commercial building of approximately 3,218 square feet on a 5,846 square foot lot, operated formerly as Goodies Uniforms, located at the southeast corner of Firestone and Clarkdale. This is a rendering looking in the direction of Clarkdale and Firestone for a 70-plus residential unit project that Prime Store has put forth and has entitlements for. We're in discussions with them for a larger residential project, as we'd mentioned, and we're hopeful that that project may actually double in size. At this point, it is recommended that you, as the City Council, got to read the fine print again. Adopt resolution number 2540, which is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Norwalk approving the put option agreement by and between the City of Norwalk and Prime Store Development, LLC, in connection with 12158 Firestone Boulevard in Norwalk, and find that the put agreement is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines sections 15016B3 and 15783A, and none of the exceptions to the categorical exemptions under CEQA guidelines section 15300.2 apply, and that approving the put agreement with Prime Store Development, LLC, for the property located at 12158 Firestone, assessor parcel 8056014043, and that you authorize the city manager to execute the put agreement amendments and any other ancillary documents reasonably necessary to effectuate the intent of this resolution, including but not limited to amendment, certificate of acceptance, and escrow documents in a form approved by the city attorney. Be more than happy to answer any questions should you have.
Questions, comments, council?
Alex, the only comment that I'm going to make is I really want to see some official details once we get we get this approved, or if it's approved tonight. I'd love to see an opportunity for the developer to come to council and do a public presentation on this event and other events that are, other developments that are going on in the city, and share some of the conceptual timelines as to when we can start to see some true development in the city of Norwalk.
Understood, Vice Mayor, and we will arrange for that within the next couple of months. Understand there's a lot of interest in what's been going on with Prime Store for the last few years, and there is a lot on the horizon, but you will get a specific update with timelines and milestones from the developer.
Yeah, I want to make sure that's for Front Street and the walk.
Understood.
Detail.
I do. something. That was quite a mouthful, Alex. I'm wondering if you can maybe just explain in a layman's terms as far as, what is the request from staff this evening?
Sure. Council member, the request is this property located at 12158 became available on the market. What is unique about it is a building which is abutting a city-owned parking lot, surface-level parking lot. It's located at the southeast corner of Clarkdale and Firestone, so it does present a real unique opportunity for both the developer, Prime Store, and the city. Because of its location, there could be any number of future uses there. So this is a good opportunity for the city, in staff's opinion. The put agreement is simply an option agreement. It allows that Prime Store would have the first option to purchase the property. If in the event at the end of the term of 24 months, they elect not to do so or come back to you for an extension of that agreement, the city could then also purchase. It could then be assigned to the city to purchase. We do believe that it's a strategically located parcel that lends itself to any number of future uses in support of the redevelopment of Front Street and what we're doing with the heart of Norwalk, both for housing and for parking. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Thank you. That was actually an excellent way to sum that up. I know we've discussed this at length, and I just wanted to make sure that it was clearly understood because, as you mentioned, Alex, there are a lot of questions as to, okay, what are we working on? What's on the horizon for Norwalk in terms of development? And you explained it very well. This is something that we're anticipating is part of the overall Heart of Norwalk, part of the plan that we have on Front Street. Speaking of parking specifically, it's a necessity. It is something that is needed in order for a project to be successful. So I do agree, but I also want to mention, I agree with my colleagues when they speak of, we are talking about, timelines, the expectation, not just from the council and the city team, but also the community in terms of producing. We're looking at, we need to start producing when it comes to our talks need to start becoming something, yes, actions. We're talking about actions. I think I feel confident in saying that the three of us, at least for this evening, have done quite a bit of research and forethought and thinking and decisions that have been made to get us to this point. Now let's continue with those actions that come mainly on the part of the developer.
Thank you, Councilmember Rios. Just lastly, and again, there's a presentation before you later regarding the Heart of Norwalk, but I simply did want to add that when we began our outreach with the property owners for the Heart of Norwalk, we deliberately chose Front Street and Firestone districts, which are districts in the plan, so that we can reach those districts first because we're really anticipating some significant redevelopment in those districts within the next 5 to 10 years. So that's how we targeted our outreach, anticipating activities sooner rather than later. Thank you.
That's the same for 5 to 7 years.
5 to 7.
Thank you.
3 to 5.
There you go.
3 to 5.
There you go.
2 to 4.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I'll
Okay.
move it.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rios?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez?
Aye.
Mayor Ayala?
Aye. Okay, item number 11, One Ways Neighborhood Rehabilitation Program Summary. Staff report, please.
Yes. Mayor Ayala, members of the City Council, we wanted to give you a staff report and mainly to provide you with the conclusion of the allocation of funds that you provided for the One Ways and give you and provide you with some results as to what that has transpired in the One Ways. And for that, we have Mr. Moises Mata, who will provide the presentation for you tonight.
And Mayor, if I can, as Moises is getting ready, much like Project Home Key, sometimes these things come and go with very little fanfare, but what you did tonight with Home Key was truly significant. What you're going to hear about from Moises for these next two programs, we're incredibly excited about because you'll see the results. and it's been very, very good staff work. The whole housing division, in conjunction with our staff and community development, Moises especially has stepped in, coming from finance. We had him out on job sites, climbing ladders, inspecting roofs, learning everything he needed to learn about the construction trade and change orders and construction contracts, and he's really, really stepped up. I'm incredibly proud of the work that he's done, and you'll see some of the results tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Thank you, Alex. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, I will be providing the final update for the One Ways Neighborhood Rehabilitation Program. So a little bit of background. On July 2022, City Council approved an allocation of $2 million for the One Ways Neighborhood Rehabilitation Program. Community outreach then commenced during fall of 2022. This included door-to-door, various different outreach methods, including 3 community meetings that were conducted in February of 2023 at the Social Services Center. Applications were accepted during the month of March 2023, and a total of 80 residents were assisted with the initial outreach that was conducted in 2023. In June of 2024, the One Ways program had $175,000 of remaining funds as it was brought to council last summer. To utilize those remaining funds, staff continued outreach, but they began with reviewing the surveys that were submitted initially and reviewing to conduct outreach to the residents who had not received assistance the first go around. After that, we coordinated with the Code Compliance Division to see if there were any active code compliance cases that we can assist with, which we were able to identify one and assist that resident, as well as the final outreach for this last portion was a windshield survey. So we drove through the neighborhood to identify homes that were in more high need of the assistance. So we were able to identify 42 properties and conducted outreach to those as well, which included door-to-door, letters, various outreach efforts to try to, make use of the remaining funding and benefit the residents. Just a visual, this is what's classified as the One Ways neighborhood. Typically known as the One Ways, it is within the yellow outline of this map, and it falls north of Alondra, south of Hopland, east of Pioneer, and east of Pioneer and where's Norwalk? West of Pioneer and east of Norwalk Boulevard, I'm sorry. And it consists of 866 properties. So sprinkling in some before and after photos. So this is the one code compliance case that I mentioned. They actually had a brick alley wall that was kind of falling into the alleyway. So we were able to work with the resident and assist them to rebuild that wall, kind of clearing that code compliance case, as well as providing that assistance to that resident. This is one of the before and afters for the paint. The residents were given the option of colors and the style of the fencing as well. So as you can see in this photo, it did make a huge difference for this resident in terms of the visuals, as well as anybody driving through the neighborhood. A summary of how many were completed. We were able to assist 93 residents through this program. 64 were roofs, 10 fences, 1 junk removal, and 18 exterior paint jobs, for a total of 93, as I mentioned. Here's another before and after of a roof. One thing I did want to point out with the roofs is it is hard to see roof deterioration from the outside. A lot of it is damaged plywood and damaged wood underneath, which is why I wanted to include this photo, because you can see some gaps and some cracks in the before photo to the replacing of all of the wood underneath before the shingles were reapplied. And this is the case with a lot of the roofs in general, but it's not easily visible if you're just looking at the property. So this is another before and after of a roof, a resident who had tile roof, which some of them were cracked, so we're able to assist as well and provided that assistance to them. Some average costs for the two most popular services, a roof coming at around $25,970 and exterior paint at $11,860. Costs that may not have been achievable for some residents had it not been for this program being available. Here's another before and after for a home paint resident. This is just the front. You can see it more on the garage door, but the entire house, received the upgrade, and you can tell. This one was one of my favorite ones. You can tell the paint was chipping, and this resident, it required a little more work to try to get to the outcome on this one, but extremely proud of the outcome we came to. And this house is on a corner, so a little more visibility of seeing it when you drive by. The fiscal impact, there is no additional fiscal impact. A total of $2 million was allocated for the program. And staff recommends City Council to receive and file the One Ways Rehabilitation Program Summary Report as this concludes the program. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Very impressive, Moises, very impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Council, questions?
Moises,
Comments?
was this your first time presenting to council?
Yes.
Great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And to the entire team, I mean, this was a big win for the entire city of Norwalk, for all of our residents, and for our partnering construction companies that really came in as an extension of the city of Norwalk to really help these residents. And I know we had funding available through different resources that we were able to use for this, and the continued conversations with those residents to make sure we used all of it. Great job. Very, very, very happy to see what we were able to do in the community.
Also, on my behalf, thank you for all of that. Really good presentation, and
thank you.
Really, I can sense how gratifying it was to see the results. Beautiful, properties, and that's the pride of ownership. And so it's something that we accomplished. Although we accomplished much more than that, I really appreciate that investment into our community in that particular neighborhood. But it really resonates citywide.
Definitely.
It leaves an impression, and I think it's the impression that we're all working towards here in the city of Norwalk. And so I really appreciate all of the work that went behind it. Thank you to the contractors. I think for the most part, there was a lot of buy-in by the contractors, meaning they really made a personal connection with a lot of these residents because they wanted to get the job done right. And that was our expectation, nothing less. As someone who grew up in the one-ways and still walks through those streets, I really appreciate, everything that went into it, and the city's leadership, the council's leadership to have that vision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 12, Residential Rehabilitation Program Summary.
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council, this is another program that the City Council approved. As you may recall, we had CDBG money that we allocated to a capital improvement program, but provided general fund for this type of residential rehab program, which provided a broader application process for eligibility purposes. So with that, Moises Mata will also present.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. And good evening again, Mayor and members of the City Council. So tonight I'll be providing an update on the residential rehabilitation program for fiscal year 24-25. Some background on this one, as Mr. Gomez mentioned, in 2023, City Council approved a substantial amendment to the annual action plan, reallocating $615,000 in unused CDBG funds to a CIP, freeing up the potential to use general funds for this newly created program. In April 2024, City Council adopted Resolution 2416, amending the fiscal year 23-24 budget to include this general fund allocation. As mentioned by Mr. Gomez, exchanging the funding source provides more flexibility to carry out this program. Examples of this flexibility are allowing us to provide more diverse services, more diverse options to the home improvement, removes restrictive eligibility barriers such as the census tract requirement and intense income verification that comes with CDBG funds, and allows the city to implement the program citywide instead of only in a specific area. The following categories were considered for the program. They are evaluated on a case-by-case basis depending on the needs of the residents and the requests on their applications. The program first prioritized residents who had previously applied to the CDBG funded home improvement program. So we started off with those applicants who had not received assistance. After assisting those residents, staff expanded outreach through the Norwalk Senior Center, conducted outreach through programs such as a senior nutrition program, providing that outreach to the homebound seniors who may be of most benefit, as well as additional senior center programs and services that are offered. After applications were received, applicants were all evaluated and prioritized based on age, income, and disability needs. The program will progress forward using similar methodology for future fiscal years. Here's a before and after of an accessibility. This resident is in a wheelchair and uses a walker, and you can tell the carpet was starting to get ripped up by the use of that in their home. So being able to install the hardwood flooring to provide them more accessibility within their home. This is a before and after of one of the residents converting their bathtub into a walk-in shower. This was maybe the most popular one. And it allows us to provide that bench and those grab bars within the walk-in, and they don't have to step over the tub as well. So providing that accessibility for showers, preventing accidents, things of that sort. Another accessibility, this resident is also in a wheelchair. So being able to convert that little step in their back door to a ramp to provide accessibility in and out of their home, provided a huge benefit to this resident. So the total number of completed projects for this program during this fiscal year, 29. And on the slide above, you can see the breakdown for the different services that we assisted with. So here is an example of an air conditioning, installing the mini split into a resident's living room. So there isn't really a before, but here's the mini split installed in their room, as well as the condenser that is installed on the side of their home. And when selecting these units, we ensured to select the most energy efficient so that it does not affect their electricity bill as much. This is an before and after of upgrading an electrical panel. They still had an older 100 amp panel that was causing like short circuits and stuff in their home. So we're able to upgrade the panel, providing home safety as well to hopefully prevent fires and things of that nature. Including average cost for each one of the categories. As shown above, roofs are obviously the most expensive, but given this program assisted seniors and low-income residents, we were able to provide much-needed repairs to these properties that may have been otherwise unattainable. So this is a before and after of a patio, which is an extension of the roof. You can see that the wood underneath the patio was rotted and in very poor shape. And then we provided, before they started painting the wood, that you can just see that the whole patio was kind of redone. So they have fresh wood, as was the case with the rest of the roof, as I mentioned earlier, where a lot of the wood, the plywood is damaged. Another before and after of a roof. A roof that was completed, I'm sorry. Fiscal impact, there is no additional fiscal impact. The program was implemented with the $600,000 allocation previously approved by the City Council, and staff recommends that City Council to receive and file the Residential Rehabilitation Program Summary Report for fiscal year 24-25. And this concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. I mean, this is so important because, you know, a vast majority of Norwalk's housing stock was built around 1951, 1952, and there's some of these houses that haven't had any kind of major upgrade or repair in 75 years. And so to be able to stay on top of that and keep doing these projects and chipping away at it makes a huge difference, you know, so good work once again.
Thank you.
Okay, item 13, Heart of Norwalk specific plan update.
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council. This is again continued update, and Mr. Carlos will begin the presentation with Phil following with the more detailed presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez, and that's a hard act to follow, but I'll try. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. Tonight's presentation is a continuation of the July 1st City Council meeting, where staff and the Arroyo Group presented an update regarding the Heart of Norwalk. For tonight's presentation, our consultant Phil Burns with the Arroyo Group will be providing you with the rest of the components of the specific plan. After this presentation, staff will provide a summary of the meeting that took place on August 7 with the property owner, and we'll be going over the next steps in the process. With that, I'll turn it over to Phil to start his presentation. Phil?
Thank you so much, Carlos, Mayor Ayala, Councilmember Rios, and Councilmember Perez. I know will be joining us again in a second here. Pleasure to be with you again. This is the third time that I'm in front of you to discuss the Heart of Norwalk specific plan. You'll recall in February of 2024, that was the first time within this process. We covered the community outreach and community values, the vision, and then we talked about the build-out assumptions, the overall amount of growth within the specific plan. After that point, we worked on preparing the actual draft specific plan, which was released last month, or actually at the end of June. Apologies. And on July 3rd, came back to you with a refresher on the vision. I know that was a bit of a repeat from the February 2024 meeting. And then we covered the regulatory standards. Today is an exciting day because today we get to talk about the topic that you are most excited about and that I am most excited about, which is the actual implementation of the specific plan and how we are going to see these projects built as soon as possible. So when we talk about implementation, there are two major buckets of upgrades that we're talking about for the specific plan. We're talking about private development and public projects or capital improvements. On the private development side, right, obviously that part is dependent on the participation of property owners and developers to bring projects forward to the city, except in cases of publicly owned land, to process these projects. To state what I know you already know, from the date that you adopt the specific plan, the new zoning will become effective across the entire Heart of Norwalk area, and any property owner within that entire area may then come forward and redevelop property in keeping with the specific plan. In addition to that, city staff, as you know, has always worked very collaboratively with property owners who may have a particular opportunity to redevelop. And that effort, that work will continue to be critical as you move the specific plan into the implementation phase. And then a final tool that we have to do to incentivize private development is the Development Opportunity Reserve, which I will cover a little bit later. Now, on the public projects, capital improvement side, we're going to spend a fair bit of the presentation today talking about that. And basically, there are 3 different buckets that are used of different methodologies that we can use to move those projects forward. And all of this is covered in Chapter 10, implementation of the specific plan. So the first bucket is development triggered implementation. When a development comes forward and we leverage that development to get some public infrastructure built out along with that. The second bucket is the local financing. So those are all the financing tools that we can identify as a city to fund these projects. And then the third bucket is the grants, which, you talked about a fair bit during this meeting today, and which I think are a critical component to being able to implement this whole specific plan. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of walk us through what we can envision the first 5, maybe 10 years after adoption of the specific plan being, the projects that we anticipate will come forward during that time, and the actions that this council and the staff can also take during this time to turn the vision into reality. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know exactly which properties are going to redevelop, within the first 5 or 10 years, but I think this can give us a good mental map of where we go from here on. So first, here's the Heart of Norwalk area, as you know, and I want to start off actually with the walk, because obviously it's not within the Heart of Norwalk area, but it is a huge piece of redefining what Norwalk means, redefining what the center of the city is, even though the walk is not a part of our specific plan area. I think it will be, the Heart of Norwalk and the walk, the Civic Center in general, will be perceived by the outside region as really what Norwalk is about, and the destination and the excitement, the identity that the city will have. And so we do anticipate that the construction of the walk will also generate more interest within the Heart of Norwalk area. So the first project within the Heart of Norwalk proper, I think, is likely to be the public-private partnership, which has already been discussed in tonight's meeting, with the Front Street commercial properties and the properties along Firestone as well. I myself am not party to all the discussions around that project, but as has been discussed, the project would involve the revitalization of commercial buildings along Front Street, new uses in there, approximately 74 new residential units along Firestone, or perhaps more, as Alex mentioned previously, potentially a public parking facility of some type along Firestone, and with the new property that has now been put into the option, and the construction of a public pass-through as well from Firestone to Front Street. Now, when we talk about, not just for this project, but for any project any real estate development project that's going to happen, when we talk about implementing the streetscape improvements that are adjacent to that building, we have 2 different ways that the specific plan has laid out for the city to be able to capitalize on that and get the streetscapes improved. The first way is as a condition of development, and that's what you see in the left-hand image there. So under the condition of development, the developer is responsible for building everything above the curb line, above the new curb line. So that means the sidewalk, bulb outs, the street trees, the street furniture. The specific plan goes into substantial detail for every street, how many trash cans are required and which ones they should be, and how many bulb outs, and all of that is spelled out within the specific plan document so that from day one of adoption, the city can begin to impose those conditions on the developer. It's important to note that with the condition of development, the developer is responsible for everything above the curb line, the sidewalk line, but not below the curb line, right? So obviously a developer could not, for example, restripe half of a block to, instead of being 2 lanes each direction, to be 1 lane each direction with a bike lane and a median. That wouldn't make sense. The city has to do all of the work below the curb in a corridor-wide fashion. Okay. So the second method that the specific plan lays out, at some point, you may wish to implement a development impact fee instead of having developers build out, immediately in front of their property on a one-off basis. The development impact fee would be, instead of doing that, the city would charge a fee, developers would pay into that, and then the city would use that money and then later implement the streetscape improvements, for the entire street all in one fell swoop. So, I think as it relates to Firestone, in that first project, certainly you have that choice to make. Next, I think that we, and certainly, we've heard the community and you all would like to see the Front Street streetscape improvements come to fruition as soon as possible. So to talk about that, here's the vision image, which I know you all know well. Once we have the new businesses along the historic, and revitalization of those historic structures, and the streetscape is redone, that's when we will really, I think, be feeling that this vision is real and is well on its way to its completion. So the streetscape improvements along Front Street are between San Antonio and Funston. They consist of the addition of a new north side sidewalk, an outdoor dining area, bulb outs along the south side, high quality, comfortable lighting, furniture, conversion of the street to one-way street with diagonal parking on the south side. For those 2 blocks, we worked with a cost estimator to estimate that cost. That's estimated at roughly $6 million. And just for your information, we did also cost an alternative strategy, which would be actually redoing the entire roadway, not leaving any asphalt at all, but just having it be, sort of one large plaza that either cars could circulate on or not, be completely pedestrianized. That option is about $10 million. Okay. So obviously that is a cost that needs to be borne. And, there will be, again, I'm not privy to all the conversations around this, but there will be a number of funding sources that can be tapped for that, including developer contribution, impact fees, local funds like the general fund. But I also want to highlight that we've integrated into all of these streetscape projects stormwater treatment elements. And what that does is it makes all of these streetscape projects eligible for water grants, like came up earlier. And those are a significant source of funding as well that the city can pursue. Next, as we're talking about the Front Street area, we should probably also talk about parking and the parking structure. First of all, the restriping of the street, the redo of the street, it's going to create 72 on-street parking spaces along Front Street. There's also the opportunity to, at a relatively low cost, repave the old rail station at Front and Funston into a surface parking lot. But eventually you will need a parking structure, as has been brought up by many members of the community. So the parking analysis that we did for the area justifies the need for about 122 space public structure in addition to all of the on-street parking and the other lot that I mentioned. To build that structure, will be, again, it will be a significant expense. I don't want to sugarcoat that. Our original estimate looked at building one at the corner of Firestone and San Antonio, 122 public spaces, 70 to 75 resident parking spaces, and ground floor retail. That came out to about $13 million. That number is probably, that it's high because the retail, it's high because it's a very small constrained site. There are probably ways to economize that a little bit, but nevertheless, it will be, there will be a need for the city to identify funding sources of that, which can include, again, developer conditions or contributions, the general fund, and also the enhanced infrastructure financing district, which I know that the city has been exploring together with Cosmot, which, sorry, I didn't mention, but Fernando is here with us tonight. Thank you so much, Fernando, for being here as well for this discussion. So if the enhanced infrastructure financing district is put into place by the city, it will not make funds available immediately, but putting it into place right now allows that after a certain, after several new developments have happened and the property tax increment has been generated, then you can bond and, be able to make some larger investments. And we think that might be around the right timing, by the time that this structure might actually be needed at Front Street. So just a thought. You might be able to move it up too, but that's one thought. So other projects that I think we see happening within the initial period of the specific plan would include the underutilized properties at Firestone and Woods along the south side of Firestone. And these 4 properties here are zoned in the specific plan for a density of 30 units an acre, but they're also given the development opportunity reserve. So what is the development opportunity reserve? It's basically a manner by which the council can decide to assign or allow additional density to a project in exchange for a public benefit to be negotiated on a project by project basis, right? Such as public open space, affordable housing, community amenities, off-site streetscape improvements. The specific plan's EIR has environmentally cleared up to 759 additional units above the base density. So basically, a project that you would approve through this manner would not need to go through environmental review, or at least it would have, significantly streamlined environmental review. And that would be through a development agreement. So it would be entirely your prerogative. Now, we took a pretty close look at designing at what a potential project for this area could look like. It's within the Triangle District, which is envisioned as more of a residential urban living district, a green district. And you can see here this program that we evaluated does include significantly more units than just 30 units per acre, but in exchange for that, it creates a pretty significant public plaza that can serve as the central plaza for the Triangle area, or also potentially in the future be a location for a metro station should the metro proceed in an underground alignment. And we also did pro forma analyses on that. In the current environment, some of that higher density development is a little difficult because of macroeconomic conditions, but we're certainly hopeful that within a few years, things may change and that type of development may become more feasible again. Similarly, across the street, you have the Norwalk Gold Car Wash, another property owner that has been engaged in conversations with the city. And both the, with the redevelopment of both of these properties, each of them will be required to dedicate 25 feet all the way throughout the property to create a pass-through, to dedicate it and also to build it out and to as a nice pedestrian path that will really help to break up the very large blocks in that area and make the whole Triangle District a lot more walkable. So again, the specific plan sets out the regulations that require that. I think another thing that we can that we should all certainly strive for to achieve within the first 5-10 years of the plan is the streetscape improvements along Firestone Boulevard. And that's a major investment. Again, here you see the vision for that corridor. It's almost 2 miles in length, and as such, it does have a pretty significant cost associated with it. We estimated it at $21 million. The good news with that is that this project we think is likely very competitive for grants at the state level and other levels of government, particularly related to transportation grants. So let me take this second to kind of go over transportation grants in general, although it was already touched on here in this meeting. Of course, the city receives a good amount of formula funds that are distributed from various levels of government to the city, over which the city has a fairly broad discretion. But in addition to those formula funds, the grants, I want to highlight 4 different grant programs that I think would be particularly useful for the specific plan. The first is the Active Transportation Program, and this one, it funds pedestrian and bicycle projects, giving disadvantaged communities a priority, and the Heart of Norwalk does qualify as a disadvantaged community. One of the really good things about this project is that it prioritizes high-quality infrastructure, and it funds multi-million-dollar projects. So the last round, the awards range from $7 to $20 million. And understanding the grant requirements of that and the competitive scoring, I think that Firestone and San Antonio, actually both of them would score very well for that one. Another one is the Highway Safety Improvement Program, which was already brought up, a little bit smaller program focused on safety improvements. The Metro Active Transportation Program, this is a non-competitive program where Metro does an analysis basically of all their station areas and figures out which station areas have the greatest need. The Heart of Norwalk is not today a station area, but it is a planned station on the C line extension. And so I think that's an opportunity for, again, the city to approach Metro and get some of those major projects included in this program. And then finally, you have the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program and its companion, the Infill Infrastructure Grant, or IIT program. ASIC funds streetscape improvements and public transit vehicle purchases with affordable housing developments, up to a total of $30 million. And so this is another, strong potential for the area.
Phil, I'm gonna request a couple of things. The council is pretty familiar with the specific plan. Can you specifically address the last outreach with property owners? And I think that'll be one of the major levels of interest for us and the council.
I think Carlos is going to cover that.
Thank you, Phil. As Mr. Gomez mentioned, we did have some community meetings, property owner meetings to go over the specific plans. So based on the feedback received from City Council during our July 1st meeting, and as previously mentioned by Alex, staff met with property owners. within the Front Street Historic District and the Firestone Boulevard corridor to present an update of the plan and answer the questions. As Alex mentioned, these two districts were chosen first because staff believes that significant development could occur in these two areas in the near future. During this meeting, a total of 13 property owners were present. Most of the property owners that attended own property within the Firestone Boulevard corridor. I'll skip a few slides. I can show you some of the pictures that we took during this meeting. During the property owner meeting, the Arroyo Group presented an overview of the specific plan. Following the presentation, the group was divided into smaller groups to facilitate more focused discussion with each property owner. Some of the concerns that were brought up are concerns about traffic patterns on Firestone Boulevard, especially regarding truck routes, concerns regarding current uses and conditional use permits, and maintaining and establishing the parking required no higher than one space per unit, per residential unit. In response to some of these comments, staff reminded property owners that the proposed zoning will not affect the existing uses and tenants, and that the city will not be purchasing any land as part of this process. The staff plans to have 2 additional property owner meetings with the remainder of the districts and corridors in the next month. These meetings will take place in September, and council will receive notifications of when these meetings occur. The draft EIR, the draft environmental impact report, as mentioned by Alex, it started circulation June 24, 2025, and ended on August 8, 2025. To date, only 4 written comments have been received regarding the specific plan and the EIR. At this time, planning staff and the Arroyo Group will commence preparing the associated response to comments and incorporate any final modifications to the specific plan. To note, the EIR ended circulation on August 8. However, we're still taking comments regarding the specific plan, and we'll take that into consideration forward with a lot of these property owner meetings. Staff anticipates schedule the specific plan and the EIR for consideration to the Planning Commission in November 2025 and for consideration before the City Council in December 2025. Therefore, staff recommends City Council receive and file the draft specific plan presentation from staff and the Arroyo Group and provide feedback. That concludes staff's presentation. Staff and the consultant are available to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council, questions, comments?
I have just a few. Phil and Carlos, thank you so much for your time and effort, and really for reaching out to those property owners and hearing that you're going to have a second and third opportunity for them to come and meet with you guys, I think is reassuring. And it shows our dedication for that particular area. A lot of those property owners have owned those property and ran those businesses for so many years, right? We want to make sure that they feel the love from the city of Norwalk as well. I would love to ask that, I know the Heart of Norwalk has its own social media pages and links and websites, but what I would like to ask Levy, if you can help me with this, is I think we need to share that on our main pages. On all of them, not just the cities, but recreation and social services, all of our main pages, because the draft specific plan is 365 pages long. Just some light reading, right? And our reach on our own direct social media pages has a higher number of views and visits than the Heart of Norwalk plan and those pages. So we need to find a way to share that at the same time. Why not? We put so much time and energy and effort into this. We need to make sure as many people see it as possible. So thank you for your time and your effort on this. And I just really hope, and this is to Jesus, when we do come back in December, that we have the 365 pages maybe condensed a little. So that way we can actually sit at the dais and have some time to really digest it at a high level, and maybe not at the same night as a council meeting with many other items on the agenda, because it's there's way too much to talk about when you're looking at that particular plan. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
We have a speaker on 13, Brian Tyndall.
Good evening, council and staff. As I spoke about this plan last time, it is 400 pages. Appendix B, I think, is the plant palette. Again, I don't believe it's been updated because I haven't gone through the 400 pages, but I haven't heard any changes to it. There are 9 species in there that are considered invasive by several states and the California federal, the FDA. Plants on these lists should not be planted in this area, are a threat to our local ecosystem. I have an entire list that I've also submitted. I would like to see more native plants in the city. Native plants are plants that were here before Europeans came to California. These plants have evolved with our water, insects, climate, and they require very little maintenance, and in many cases, they are hosts to very specific species, such as the monarch butterfly that I've also spoken about. Planting these invasive weeds is a mistake. It leads to choking out other healthy plant populations that we need in the city. I know we live in an urban concrete jungle, but that doesn't mean that we can't be planting things that were here and require less maintenance. They also require less cost and pruning, and so I would like to see this plan updated to reflect that. Thank you.
Okay, oral communications, Pocky. Pocky to the microphone, please.
Well, let me just try to explain my story. Hey, you know the days of Noah of the ark? We are right there today. Tribulation is around. You better believe it. Jesus is coming back. We are right there. You know, I was going to show you right after the Noah's Ark, right? Some years later, God showed Solomon, King Solomon, this kind of almost like a small swimming pool, and it's on top of a red heifer cow. Top of the red heifer cow. 12 of them. That was for the baptism of the dead people. They died in the days of Noah. You understand? Now, millions of people. Now, we just have 5 million 3 years now. Now, but let me tell you, you know, the Pope, Catholic Pope, declared the church there was not right. What are you going to do with those people? There are millions of them. That's why the 12 cows of the Jewish people represent that we baptize these people for the dead. The LDS Church have the only one. There are 150 temple with the red hair is supposed to be the cow. We baptize people there. So you have to take it. I think the Pope is a great man. Number one, he's just like Donald Trump. He was an honest man. What do you think of that? Eh? Oh, that was not right. This was not right. That's what he canceled them. What about millions who died doing that? I'm telling you. They are not going to heaven. I won't say it. No, I'm thankful to him. He's a great man, like Donald Trump. No, so you have to take your people to the Church of Jesus Christ in the letter they're saying. Baptize them over there. Well, that's why Solomon built. It's like a small, that's why I want to show you the picture. Build this thing. Solomon himself built it. They don't know what the red heifer cow mean, but it's supposed to be the 12th tribe. Hold it and save the dead people and save the people who's alive. You know, in the name of Jesus, amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Baki. Camille, I know we have a couple emails. Can we go ahead and do those at this time?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The first email was submitted by Stephen Say. It's regarding potholes, one on westbound Alondra Boulevard and one on eastbound Alondra Boulevard, and that has been forwarded to Public Services. The second email is from Steve CDE Baca. It's regarding repair requests to medians along Rosecrans, as well as some unsightly concerns on the railroad tracks on Front Street and some other various areas within the city of Norwalk. This has also been forwarded to Public Services and Community Development.
Thank you, Camille. Okay, who's up next? We have Resident R. That's what it says on the card, Resident R. Is Resident R here? Okay, Andy, are you here?
Hello. Last week, Carlos Roberto Montoya, a migrant from Guatemala, was killed after ICE raided the Home Depot where he was seeking work, causing him to run into traffic. Over the weekend, armed masked men stopped the man in his car, broke his windows, and fired 3 shots into the car, causing him to flee for his life. The day after the last city council meeting, ICE again came to our city and kidnapped 2 men from their car. There was no word or action from the city to alert about this ICE activity or warn the residents. These are just some of the incidents recently reported showcasing the continued terror faced by immigrant communities, and your continued inaction is shameful. 2 weeks have passed since the last council meeting. In that time, the cities of Pasadena, Santa Monica, Culver City, Pico Rivera, Montebello, and Monterey Park have joined the lawsuit against the federal government, seeking to protect their residents and their community from ICE terror, bringing the total number to 20 cities who have joined onto the lawsuit. Why is Norwalk not one of them? While it's clear legal action alone won't stop Trump's plan for mass deportation, it's showing willingness to take action. This isn't a radical ask. You were willing to take on the state to keep housing from being built, but when it comes to actually providing protection from your residents, you do nothing. I thank Councilmember Rios for sharing resources to assist our neighbors and sharing that information. That is something that the city should be regularly doing, and I hope to see that information shared throughout the city. You've highlighted resources available through your social services department and publicized it through social media, but not everyone is able to see that. You have good flyers and red cards at the social services department. That should be something the city is sending to every household here, not just as a QR code. But to be clear, that's just the bare minimum. As more detention centers are being built and capacity is growing, we need to be prepared for the coming attempts to fill those concentration camps. We are still waiting for anything from the city, letting them know that their residents who may be scared, that you are behind them and that you are taking action to protect them. Proclaiming this city a sanctuary city will make it clear that Norwalk is a safe place for the immigrants who are part of our community and that you are behind them. I list again our demands: specific allocated funding for the families affected by ICE raids, formal support for bills put forward in our state legislature to prevent armed mass police from operating with impunity in our city, and proclaiming Norwalk a sanctuary city, as well as increase in communication from the city regarding ICE activity. I have yet to see any of these topics on your agenda, and I am worried that nothing less than a death in Norwalk will finally push you to take action. Please don't let it come to that.
Norwalk resident 2.
Hello, I'm a Norwalk resident, and I just wanted to talk about the inadequacy of the city's, or the inaction of the city regarding the ICE raids that have been taking place. There's been nothing on agendas or nothing that has been stated by council members regarding what's been going on. It's been up to community members like myself and others that have actually been reaching out to families and also going to small businesses and talking to people about their rights. So I really would like for Norwalk to be a sanctuary city. Would like this to be proposed because again, nothing on the agenda has been mentioned regarding what has been going on. The communities have been terrorized these past few months, especially as Norwalk is a very large Latino immigrant community. It's disappointing to see that no council member has been doing anything to protect communities that have been terrorized. So I would like to see more done by the community, more done by council members and by the city, because it's really disappointing to see that Norwalk or the council members aren't doing anything at all. Thank you.
Norwalk resident.
On Saturday in San Bernardino, U.S. Customs and Border Protection armed agents surrounded a car with weapons drawn. They smashed the windows. The people that were in the car drove to their home in fear. The agents, the second the car started moving, they shot at the vehicle. And the man that was driving the vehicle contacted the police himself to seek assistance from them. And when the police got there, all they did was talk to the man, briefly detain him, let him go, and left. And the federal agents were outside the home for over 6 hours armed. Local police eventually returned just to do some crowd control. So they cited the California Values Act as to why they couldn't assist with what was going on. You have like unidentified masked agents shooting at a resident. They had no warrant when they were there for 6 hours. They showed no warrant. So that goes to show that they had no warrant when they stopped the vehicle in the first place. So what can you assume from that? Most likely, as we've seen in almost all cases, it's racial profiling that's going on. But it seems that we are not going to be able to depend on police or law enforcement to actually defend the residents. So for the operating budget in the city of Norwalk, public safety has $28 million. 19 million of which is for the contract for the sheriffs. Social services only has $4 million in the budget, and that's actually the lowest part of the budget besides debt services. So I feel like when it comes to the matter of public safety, if law enforcement isn't going to protect the people, then public safety should come through other measures, including a higher budget for social services and help for the residents that need it with the stuff that's going on with ICE. Over 60 people were taken between Sunday and Monday, which brings the count to over 4,000 since June. Long Beach City Council has passed a series of reforms that prohibits federal agents on non-public city grounds. It establishes penalties for city workers or contractors who do not comply with sanctuary policies, and it creates a certificate program for businesses that offer safe spaces for undocumented residents. And their city employees are being trained to ask for court papers. And residents are given a place on the website where they can report violations. I mean, I'm wondering why we aren't even moving to do anything of the sort. I mean, you guys have pointed to certain things that have been available, but that stuff has been available since before any of this started. You guys aren't really doing anything in addition to what's already been available, anything specifically to help with any of this that's going on. It seems like there's absolutely no urgency in a very urgent matter.
Norwalk resident, number 3.
Hi, good evening. As my peers have addressed, we just want to see more movement when it comes to action for what we're going to do for the residents of Norwalk when it comes to ICE coming into our city. We've been led to different resources where it comes to going and seeing with Social Security and what they can provide for us. I, as a resident, would like to see it be where you were to go door to door and send pamphlets of some sort where they can get that kind of resource, because some people are too afraid to go and don't know that that's something that's available to them. I just feel like we're going to keep coming to ask for some sort of movement, like if it's on the agenda or if it's something that you seek as vital, I guess. But thank you. I don't know what to say.
Thank you. Hassan?
Good evening. These next 3 minutes are dedicated to Jaime Alanis Garcia and Roberto Carlos Montoya Valadez, who both died as a direct result of ICE raids. So another kidnapping occurred in Norwalk since the last city council meeting. It happened off of Excelsior and Studebaker. That brings the kidnappings up to at least 4 that we know of. I want the community members here to know that if they or someone they know have been affected by these raids, Norwalk Social Services offers resources that may help alleviate some of that hardship. If they are too scared to seek help in person, they can call or have a third party represent them to gather those resources for them. Those resources are there for you and you should take advantage of them. The only reason I know that these resources exist is because I had to physically go to social services to find out what kind of help Norwalk is offering to its immigrant community. I think that's an issue. Considering that we are in the midst of a crisis, I believe that outreach and communication of these services is lacking. Next, I want to express that I feel like what we are asking for is not unreasonable. Which one of these demands that we have asked for is the City Council not in favor of? We are asking for a fund specific to families affected by the ICE raids. We are asking for a city ordinance that requires federal agents to remain unmasked as they operate within the city. We are asking for the City Council to declare Norwalk a sanctuary city. We are asking for Norwalk to sign on to the lawsuit against the current administration over the unconstitutional ICE raids. These are all policies and actions that other cities have taken. So again, I ask, which one of these demands are unreasonable? It's been 70 days since ICE has occupied LA County, and the City Council has remained neutral at best. We want to know where the entire City Council stands. The time of neutrality is over. We want to know if you are against the current administration or if you are for it, or if you're collaborating with it. We want to know if you are doing everything within your power to keep the residents of Norwalk safe. We want transparency. We want accountability. And Councilmember Rios, I just want to say thank you for showing openness to communicate with us. We do appreciate that. We hope we can establish a line of communication with you, and we can work together. I know you're the only one that has expressed any sort of interest in what's going on. So we appreciate that, and hopefully we can work together. Thank you.
Ms. Oaxaca?
Good evening. I'd like to echo my peers' thoughts and feelings, all very...
Excuse me, you can pull that mic down a little bit so you're not standing on your tiptoes.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. You've seen most of us here before. We're gonna come back. We're here to show that we care about our community, and we're spending our time, which could be with our families, working, studying, contributing that time towards our careers. Please remember you all took an oath. You're all being paid to be here. Please remember your community is scared. I'm scared. I'm lucky enough to say I was a citizen. I'm lucky enough to pass as not Latino. That's not a privilege that I should be able to do. Like, that's horrible. I'm a tutor. All my kids are scared. What am I supposed to say? School started. What do I say when they're shaking and they can't concentrate and they don't know where their next meal is coming from? It was already hard before. We all know how it's been. We've all been struggling. August 8th, Goldman, Warren, Padilla, Kelly, and Correa demand investigations into ICE's detention of U.S. citizens. ICE has even deported U.S. citizens in many cases. ICE has deported U.S. citizen children along with their undocumented parents, reportedly against the family's wishes, these members wrote. Recent reporting has exposed dozens of cases where U.S. citizens, including children, cancer patients, and members of Native American and Latino community were unlawfully swept up in ICE raids and held for days or weeks without legal recourse. We all heard someone else be sworn in. Due process is a right to everyone on the land. Rights for citizens are very clearly stated that they're for citizens. Despite ICE policy explicitly prohibiting the detention of U.S. citizens, agents have reportedly ignored individual citizenship claims and have failed to verify documentation. In some cases, field agents made no effort to confirm a person's status even after it was arrested. I'd also like to say that legally U.S. citizens don't have to carry documentation to prove that they're citizens. ICE agents don't have jurisdiction. Why are they allowing it to get this far? Attorney General Bonta today continues support of litigation challenging unconstitutional immigration stops in Southern California today, August 19th. I think this is something that everyone needs to remember. How many times do you have to hear the youth tell you, we learned this in history books. We don't want to live it. Everyone here knows someone impacted. If you're saying you don't, you're lying. Please use your powers. We're all here supporting you. Please show us that you support us too. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Tyndall.
Good evening again, council and staff. Absolutely support everything that they're saying. I hope you guys part. If we wanted to take a quick detour to Glacier Park and Excelsior and Studebaker. Last council meeting, I mentioned that there was a tree cut down in that area. That was on a Tuesday. It turns out after an information request, that tree fell down. That tree was apparently worth $9,000, according to West Coast Arborist. That was Tuesday. On Wednesday, I heard chainsaws. Same area, same street, same neighborhood. So I went to go see if someone was doing something they shouldn't be doing. West Coast Arborist was trimming, and there was a tree slated for removal in that area. It is leaning slightly and was lifting the sidewalk just a little bit. I sat there for an hour and a half with Councilmember Rios on the phone. Staff was in meetings, but luckily I had a tree for some shade. That tree has been saved, apparently, now. I was told by staff who came out to join me and to see what was going on that this tree was going to be withheld and we were going to do an arbor report to see if that tree was going to need to be removed or not. City staff were the ones who just tagged it without an actual arborist report. The latest update I've gotten is that that tree is not going to be removed and there is not an arborist report. So that's a huge win. Good job. Why did I have to stand out there for an hour and a half? Like, why was this tree slated to be removed in the first place? If it was leaning and is dangerous, let's get an arbor report and a chainsaw. If it wasn't, why was it tagged? I would like the staff and council to set up rules that you need an arborist report before you cut down a $9,000 piece of city property. I don't quite understand. I'm not asking you to spend money. I'm asking you to save money. These trees that are over there are willows. I spoke to West Coast Arborist while I was over there. They're willow trees. They lean naturally. $9,000. They've been there since before Google Street View is aware of that area. The city has spent money watering them, maintaining them, trimming them, planting them. Let's not cut them down. So I've been here for 2 years speaking about native trees. Let's just stop cutting down the ones we have. According to the last inventory that West Coast Arborist did, you're missing 30% of your inventory. That's empty tree wells where a tree should be is gone. So please stop cutting down the ones we have. Thank you.
There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned in memory of Francis Mary Husak.